There was a time where I felt like I was my own worst enemy, my own biggest critic. Have you ever felt that way? My name's Zach. I'm a performance and leadership coach with Great Purpose Coaching. I work with a lot of leaders and owners, business owners, and sales professionals to help them transform their leadership and their approach so that they can change the results and create those results that they desire to see in their life and in their business. So why was it that I felt like my own worst enemy? Why do you feel like your own worst enemy? And what if I were to say it's not necessarily your fault? Because when you want to do well, when you want to succeed, when you want deeply to create the types of results that your company wants to see from you, your leadership wants to see from you, or you want to see from you, frankly, it makes a lot of sense that you would be hard on yourself. And it makes a lot of sense that I was hard on myself. But what I learned was as long as I kept beating myself up, because that's what would happen. I would go into a sales presentation, I would leave the sales presentation, and I would focus on what I did wrong. And then I'd go into the next sales presentation. Zach, don't do that again. Be sure not to say I just said right? Like you go in there with this mindset of, in this sales presentation, I am not going to ask close-ended questions, right? Or if you're on the golf course, the weather's warming up out there, so we're thinking about golf, right? I'll never forget, there's a course I often played, and I think it was the third hole. There's just water. There's water and then the hole. It was a par 3, and you know what? I'd stand up over the tee box, and I'd be thinking to myself, don't hit it in the water. What happens? Almost every time it goes in the water. Then what happens is of even greater concern. There might be some expletives, me getting pissed off, me eventually just chucking a ball over the water with my hand because I've had it, I'm done, right? And that continues for 18 holes. Me thinking about, don't hit it in the trees, don't hit it in the sand. What am I doing? I'm hitting in the trees, I'm hitting in the sand. I'm getting more and more pissed off, and it's not even fun. I just want to quit. I just want to quit. And that happens in business. It happens in performance. It happens everywhere. And that's why you are becoming your own worst enemy, because you're setting yourself up to fail. And that's the biggest learning here is, after studying performance psychology and reading and learning from other high performance coaches, I'm learning something that's called the law of dominant thought. And it is simply that our actions, therefore our results, tend to follow our thoughts, images, and feelings. And so we tend to create what we focus on. So every time I stood up over the tee box and said, don't hit in the water, I got exactly what I was focused on. I hit it in the water. And that's the lesson here for you, is instead of having those thoughts of what you don't want to see happen and what you want to stop doing, I want you to focus on the result that you desire to create. Focus on the aspiration, not the problem or the challenge or the obstacle. Don't focus on the obstacle, because there's this awesome quote that I've shared numbers of times, that obstacles are those terrifying things you see when you take your eye off the target. And so it has everything to do with high performance. It has everything to do with you hitting your mark on the golf course. It has everything to do for you to show up to that sales presentation fully ready, fully confident, and ready to execute on your vision. Not on your to-don't list, right? So I want to give you just this tip, because over the next several weeks, I want to introduce several more power mindsets for you that will lead you into high performance. These are mindsets that we often get wrong. In fact, most of us do counter to what the mindset is, and it hurts our performance, just like the one I just showed you. And so remember, the law of dominant thought. You are going to get what you focus on. Your actions and results tend to follow your thoughts and the images and what you're visualizing. And so spend some time really thinking about and visualizing whatever the situation, whatever you're about ready to go into, ask yourself, what am I doing when I'm really on my A game? What would my A game look like? What would I be doing if I were performing at my best? How would I be responding to maybe an obstacle or challenge as my best self? And I want you to think about what it is you do want to see yourself as, who you are at your best. Don't worry about what you don't want to do, because if you're so focused on the target, the obstacles are little. They're insignificant. They only are terrifying, and they only really trip us up when that is what we try to focus on. But instead, if we focused on what it is we want, we coast right through the obstacles, and we actually start to create exactly what we want in those different scenarios in business and life and performance overall. And, and so what? What if you go in there and you know what? You didn't execute your vision exactly how you planned on it. Great. Take that back into the next evaluation. Don't beat yourself up. Just focus on what is. What is it that I did? And what didn't I do? But don't end there, because that's where I would end. I'd be like, darn it, there I went again. I went and said something I shouldn't, or I cut somebody off mid-conversation, or there I was asking those close-ended questions in my sales conversation, right? Darn it, I suck. When am I going to get this, right? Instead of that, just notice, yeah, I did it there. Again, come back to what do I want to do next time? Next time I'm in that situation, what do I want to do? Boom. What do I want to do? Boom. And just keep building upon those aspirations and those intentions of how you want to show up next time. And keep evaluating and keep working through that. But that's a quarter turn you can make to your evaluations, because if you leave those feeling beat down and feeling like you suck, then how's that really serving you? And so I want you to try this. And I want to leave you with this one last thing. I think this will really set you up for success if you're in a leadership position in any shape or form. And that could be being a dad, being a mom, or being the CEO of your company. It doesn't matter. You matter, and how you show up for others matters big time. And so that's why I created the Executive Morning Plan. And it's a way for you to take control of your day through applying these very principles I just shared with you here. By setting up your intentions for the day and how you want to show up, how you want to anticipate the day and visualize the day, and how do you want it to go, and what might be some obstacles that show up along the way, but how do you want to respond to those obstacles? What would it look like for you to respond to those as your best self? So what are you doing when you're really on your A game? Focus on that, have an image of that, and go live into that, and watch your performance change.